cancer, then it's very likely that you may inherit you may inherit the BRCA1 and then the BRCA2 genes. So if there's a family history and then of breast cancer or ovarian cancer, then there is about 10% chances, about 10% chance of actually developing breast cancer too. And then there's a previous history of tumors. Tumor can be malignant, which is a cancerous form, and then it can be benign, which is actually it is not actually the cancerous form. It's not as dangerous as the cancers. So if you have a history of previous tumor, whether a cancer or the non-cancerous form, then actually it's a predisposing factor to develop breast cancers. And then gender, the fact that you are being a female alone is actually a predisposing factor to developing breast cancers. In Ghana, about 98% of those who present with breast cancers are actually females, and then only 2% of them are males. It's basically because females have a lot of fatty deposit inside their breast. So at a certain age of their life, these fats are converted to estrogen. Now, please, the next slide. So basically, that's it on the non-modifiable risk factors. Some signs and symptoms of breast cancer. I just grouped them into two. We have the local signs and then the metastatic signs. When I talk about local signs, I'm talking about the breast as the organ and then the surrounding tissue. So usually with the breast and then the lymph nodes inside the armpit, usually you see a lump. You fall for a lump inside the breast when you palpate or when you press. You fall for a lump inside the breast. And then in some people, they may have a breast or nipple pain. I think it is only in 5% of people with breast cancer that experiences pain. So usually pain is not actually a common marker. And then the skin around the breast may also change. So when you observe any change in the texture of the skin, whether there's a lump or there's a breast.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Unfortunately, we don't have the bot Zoom app, so our Zoom will go off in about 2 minutes' time.
Okay.
So just take note, and I would entreat all participants to kindly rejoin us when it goes off. When it goes off, we'll quickly start it again, and right after 5 minutes, we will kickstart. Even 5 minutes is more. Within 2 to 5 minutes, we will start the presentation. And I think it's getting interesting. So
all right, Doc. Thank you.
Everybody will have to join. So, Doc, please, you can go ahead.
Okay. So some people may also have nipple discharge, nipple retraction. Naturally, there are some people that their nipples are retracted or inverted. If you are that type, it is not actually a cause for alarm. But if naturally your breast is not retracted or inverted, then when you observe that it has retracted or inverted, then there's a cause for alarm. You have to speak to your clinician. And then there is it in the lymph node inside the armpit. We call them the axillary lymph node. When you realize that it's actually enlarged, then it is a cause for alarm. Sometimes the breast may bulge in, and then you may also observe redness, and then sometimes the breast enlarge. So when you observe all these things, you have to actually speak to a clinician. Please, the next one. The next slide. Now, please, the next slide. Okay. So the second group is the metastatic signs and symptoms. When we talk about metastatic cancers or metastatic breast cancers, it means it's begun from the breast and then it has spread into other organs. So it can spread even to the brain. It can spread to the liver. It can spread to the lungs. It can spread to anywhere. If it spread into the bone, they may have bone pains. If it spread into the lungs, they may have symptoms like difficulty breathing alongside the previous symptoms that are actually symptoms and signs that I previously listed out. And then you can also have abdominal distension. So if it extends to the liver, you may have abdominal distension or jaundice. And generally, you can also experience weight loss. So Okay.
Yeah, so I think we already have 10 participants and people are still joining.
Yes.
I think we just give 2 more minutes.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I have no idea what's going on.
Minutes.
Okay,
For
look.
this session. Yes.
All right. So what I was saying is that the fact that you present with these kind of symptoms does not necessarily mean that you have breast cancer, but the best it will help you. Like the best thing is that it helps in the early detection. Once you observe any changes, you have to actually see.
Madam, I'm a person. I'm trying to reach her, but it's not working.
All right, look. Please,
Yes,
can I continue?
Yes, you can go ahead.
So I was saying that the fact that you present with these kind of symptoms.
Recording in progress.
The fact that you are presenting with these kind of symptoms, either the local symptoms or the metastatic symptoms, does not necessarily mean that you actually have breast cancer, but it helps in the early detection. So once you observe any changes in your breast or any of these symptoms, you have to actually see a clinician or a health professional. Please, the next slide. Okay. So with the prevention, actually it's based on, most of them are based on the risk factors. So alcohol and smoking actually increases your chances of developing breast cancers and even other forms of cancers. So smoking helps a lot, and smoke cessation and then alcohol cessation helps a lot. And then we should also increase the consumption of fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables contain a lot of phytochemicals, and most of these phytochemicals are antioxidants. So it helps to actually mop up or scavenge radicals, free radicals inside the body. Free radicals are known to cause damage to the DNA and then induce mutation. So these fruits and vegetables actually helps to remove most of these things from the body, and then a conscious effort in reducing weight, just to burn down fat, also helps a lot. And then we shouldn't be putting electronic devices around our breast, especially males. Some of them, they just put their phones around their breast. It's not a good practice. And diet modification. With some of the food, like the trans fatty acid and then the saturated fatty acid, we can't actually avoid them completely, but what we can do is that we can actually reduce it to the minimum. And then stress management also helps a lot. And then instead of going in for oral contraceptive, we can actually go in for other forms of contraceptives, natural birth control, barrier method, and all those ones. We can go in for those ones. And then exercise too helps a lot in this regard. So next one. Okay, thank you very much. I'm actually done. My next colleague will take over from here. Thank you very much, everyone. Dr. Michelle. Hello, Dr. Michelle.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I just unmuted myself. I said at this point I will make Mr. Seth the administrator so that he can share his screen. His part is our main focus actually, to tell ourselves the things we can do. So I'm making him the host so that he can share.
Recording stopped.
So, Mr. Seth, please, over to you. Kindly share your screen and tell us what you have about the natural ways to prevent this deadly disease. Mr. Seth is muted. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, and there's a little background noise.
Please, are we good to go?
Yes, kindly put it up on presentation mode so that we can see it clearly. And as you present, kindly try to add those who will be joining because people are still there. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay, so good evening once again, everybody. My name is Seth Osuejiri, and as I said, I'm with the Home Health Education Service.
Recording in progress.
Of Accra. And what we do is we educate people on their health so that the family will be in peace at all times to live as God intended. And so we're going to look at some of the ways in which we can prevent ourselves from getting sick, especially with cancer and particularly with breast cancer. And so as has been discussed by the previous speakers, there are some of the factors that we can control, but there are others that we can't control. So genetics can't be controlled, and then the environment has some components that can be controlled and others cannot. But one thing that we can all control, or we have control over, is our diet and the type of things we take into our body. That is what we all have control over. And so in this section, we are looking at some of the food and drinks that will help us prevent ourselves from getting sick and also protect us against this disease. So the first one on the list is sugar. Now sugar, though it doesn't directly cause breast cancer, but research has indicated that people who consume greater amounts of sugar, that is more than 50 grams per day, have a higher risk of developing many types of cancers. And when we're talking about sugar here, we are not talking about only the white sugar that we can see in the picture. We're also talking about the soft drinks and all the other, the pastries, the cake that we like so much. They all increase our sugar intake. And so we should also be helpful for all of us to check how much sugar we put into our system. The next one we will talk about, as Dr. Johannes has already spoken about, trans and saturated fat. And the commonest example we have is margarine. Now, it has been shown by research that women who consume margarine have a higher risk of developing breast cancer. And so we have to, it will be helpful for all of us to also check how we take bread, especially because we know margarine goes with bread, and how we use the oils we use in cooking, overheating some of them, especially palm oil. When we overheat it, we see that it starts burning. At that stage, the components start changing, and so instead of being helpful to our body, it could cause some kind of harm to our body. We all enjoy, or I know, or we all know that many people enjoy meat, and meat is part of the diet of people, and when they think about just eliminating meat, they get sick. They can't just come to terms with eliminating meat from their diet. But then research has also found that the consumption of large amounts of meat increases the risk of of various cancers. We have colon cancer, we have kidney cancer, and others. But the main focus here is breast cancer. Women who eat meat 5 times in a week have a 2.5 times greater risk of developing breast cancer than those who eat meat at two times in a week. So we can just choose what we want to do with our lives. We can choose to get a higher risk or a lower risk just by the choice we make in consuming meat, large amounts of them. Please it will be helpful for us to reduce the intake of meat in all its forms. Particularly, we have processed meat such as salted and smoked meat and fish. These ones contain nitrites and nitrates, which could affect the way our body functions by altering the chemical composition of some of the substances in our body and by also becoming carcinogenic to our body, thereby developing cancer. We have alcoholic beverages of all kinds. Research has also found that increasing the intake of alcohol or even moderate amounts could increase our risk of developing breast cancer, stomach cancer, and colon cancer. But then the dangerous aspect with alcohol is that with women especially, it is not advisable to even try with just a little amount of alcohol, because what a man will consume and will be okay, if a woman takes it, the same amount, the effect that a woman, the effect from the alcohol on the woman will be so tremendous that it could lead to development of breast cancer. So in this section, we are going to look at some of the food and drinks that can help us prevent cancer. Now, the food and drinks that help us in this regard are having anti-cancerous properties and they are anti-carcinogenic. And so the first set of food that we have vegetables. We all use vegetables in our preparation of food in our households and wherever we find ourselves. But then the issue here is it's not about just not eating enough or not just eating, but then sometimes we do overcook the vegetables that we use, and some of the phytochemicals get destroyed from overcooking. And so what we can do is to try as much as possible to eat fresh vegetables and to eat vegetables in the fresh form, always. So we have, cabbage, we have broccoli, we have onions and garlic. Onions and garlic have been shown to contain substances that neutralize the action of carcinogenic substances in our body. And so these we enjoying food. And also make the point to always enjoy them in the fresh state, because that is where we get the nutrients that we need and all the protective substances that our body needs to fight against cancer. Okay, so we have red beet that has also been suggested to contain substances that are anti-carcinogenic, and so they help us, or they help our bodies fight against cancer. We have radish, that is also something we have to include in our diet. And so hello, we have legumes. The one with the highest potential in the fight or against cancer, all forms of cancer, and specifically breast cancer. We have soya bean, and we have soy products. We have soy milk, we have the soy kebab, and we have other things that we get from soybeans. Now, these substances contain isoflavones, and these prevent breast and prostate cancer. And today our focus is on breast cancer. So we should increase the intake of soy products because they help our bodies to they help protect our bodies from cancerous cells developing inside
The prostate, the other name is papilloma ruja, the prostate cancer.
We have another group of fruit. Here, because we know we all take in fruit every day.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
It looks like somebody with name HMD Global Nokia G20 is looking at the background. If you can kindly mute for us. After that, we'll take contributions and questions, please.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Please, you can go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. So, as I was saying, we know we all consume fruits, but the problem with fruit and our intake is that mostly we don't take in enough of the fruits. Now, we are supposed to take in some quantity of fruit every day. There are people who make it, they don't have fruit as part of their diet, and they take fruit. There are people who have told me that they take fruit once in a month, which is so not advisable. Please, I'm advising everybody to always take fruit as part of our diet. Now, some of the fruits have high potential in the fight against cancer, and the orange and the citrus family, orange and the siblings, we have lemon and all the other ones that are related. They all have anti-carcinogenic properties in the form of antioxidants, vitamins, and phytochemicals. And so it will be advisable for all of us to increase the intake of fruit. Now, I'm talking about fruit again. One aspect is that people always say that we have taken in fruit juice in cans and in boxes or in packaged containers, and they always think that because they are taking fruit juice, that is enough to meet the requirements that a body needs with respect to fruit. But then the advice is for us to focus on taking in the freshest part or the freshest fruit as much as possible, because that's the fresh ones are the ones that are going to give us the chemical or the strength we need to fight against cancer and all forms of diseases. Another group of food that is very common in our diet, we have whole grains. We all consume banku, we have the rice and the like. Now the problem here is that people usually choose perfumed rice. Let me use rice as an example. People prefer to buy perfumed rice and use that one in their kitchen because they think that the aroma and the whole appealing nature of the food is equivalent to the kind of strength it's going to give to us or the kind of nutrients. But then the good news here is that we have an abundance of local rice on the market. Now, these ones are unpolished. The brown rice, we have some from the western region, some from the north. All those ones are not polished. And those are the ones that are going to give us enough fiber to fight, for our body to fight any form of infection. Because it has been shown that fiber in the whole grains usually retain and remove carcinogens or carcinogenic substances from our body, usually through the feces that we pass out. And so if we are not taking in enough fiber, that means if the carcinogens come into our body, they are going to get a place to stay, and with time, their effect is going to be felt in our lives, which wouldn't be nice for us because by that time, we would have already developed what we don't want to develop. And so that is the advice for all of us. Let us usually some of the things that will help us are very cheap because when you compare the local brown rice to the packaged perfumed rice, you realize that one is relatively cheaper. But we think these things are not the best. But then in this case, the ones that are common around us, they are very helpful. So please let us go back to the old days and look at the rice. We have olive oil. Now we use a lot of oil in our kitchen. Now it has been found by research or from research that olive oil usually helps to lower the risk of breast cancer by 25% to 35%. And so because they are rich in antioxidants and monounsaturated fatty acids, they are a good substitute for all the other oils that will give us trouble. So please let us remember this always, that olive oil contains everything we need to help our bodies fight against cancer or the development of cancerous cells. Now, we'll talk about some special drinks that will help us or that will equip us with enough strength for our bodies to fight off any cancer that is beginning in our body. Now, one of them, which was named by Dr. Pamplona Rogers, who has worked extensively in the type of food we eat and their relation to the kind of illnesses, particularly non-communicable diseases, which breast cancer is part of. He has done a lot of work, and he brought out this drink, which is called Breast Shield Smoothie. It's a smoothie. So those who know smoothies, its components are broccoli, strawberries, and soy milk. Now, the whole recipe is in one particular book, which I will talk about later. And so anybody who needs it can later reach out, and we're going to share it with him or her. And so that is the first one. It contains antioxidants, enough of them to help our body fight against cancer. The last one is this breast drink. As the name suggests, it keeps our breast safe. And this one is made up of carrots, pomegranate, and flaxseed. Now the pomegranate contains a lot of polyphenols that prevent it from developing breast cancer and prostate cancer. And so this one to the recipe, the full recipe is there. If anybody is interested, they could reach out and they will get it from us. Now, in summary, as some of the speakers have already discussed, we've talked about many things, but let me take this opportunity to summarize everything we talked about. Now, we are saying that it will be helpful for us to engage in physical activities every day. Let's try as much as possible to exercise ourselves, at least walking from time to time, walking within the day, jogging, all forms of exercise. We talked about cold drinks, we talked about fruits and vegetables. Now, another thing, we have to get adequate sleep and sufficient sleep. And so, please, those of us who are, in quote, night, we are nocturnal beings, we can't sleep. Please let us try as much as possible to sleep and sleep well. At least every day we have to sleep for about 7 to 8 hours. That is what will help our bodies function efficiently and effectively. Again, as we have to stay positive at all times, be realistic, so that we will not stress ourselves with unnecessary worry. Because we are worrying about issues and we are stressed, our body will also be weak and wouldn't be able to fight off the cancer when it comes or when it starts developing. Another thing is that we have to take in enough water, pure water, every day. We have to take at least 2 liters of water. That is equivalent to about 4 of the 500 milligrams sachet water. At least make it a point to take in pure water all the time, because that is also going to help your body fight off any infection. Now the other one is believing in God. That one I will not say much about it, but then let us always keep in mind that God is there for us in all our problems, and we should carry all our burdens to Him because He cares for us. There is nothing we can do for ourselves unless we go to God to solve our problems for us. And so that is the last thing I want to talk about. But then before everything comes to an end, we have these books available here. All these books, the message that we talked about and more are found in all the books that we have here. And they are very useful books, which I would like to recommend for each and every person to get a copy for themselves and their family. Because all the drinks, the recipes for all the drinks are found there, especially this book, Healthy Juices, and all the other ones. So that is the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for your time and for your audience.
Thank you so much, Mr. Seth, for the wonderful presentation done. We have learned a lot on the natural ways. Now, Dr. Alfred, all the way from Canada, our guest speaker, will come in with an expert advice. He introduced himself, but most of us were not here at that time. So we want him to introduce himself again and then give us an expert advice. The time is almost over again. We can rejoin because he has something to tell us. He's an expert in all the things we have said so far. So, Dr. Alfred, please talk to us.
Thank you, Dr. La. Can you all hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes, please, we can.
Yeah, okay. So, I have training in human medicine and veterinary medicine. I am a human diagnostic neuropathologist, and I am a veterinary pathologist. Therefore, I call myself
Neurosurgeon.
No, I am a human diagnostic neuropathologist.
HMD Global, kindly mute for us. Dr. Alfred, please. I think Dr. Alfred is not here with us at the moment.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, so I just introduced myself. I'm a pathologist. I'm a consultant for drug discovery companies. I've worked in academia. I've taught at the University of Ghana. So this is all about me. You still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Doc.
Yeah, okay. So, thanks to all the presenters for excellent presentation. In fact, I have learned a lot. There are many things which I didn't know. And I'm sure the audience also would be appreciative of the excellent presentations. I just want to make a few comments from Dr. Na's presentation on his explanation of cancer. I just want to add to his explanation. Well, he did say that cancer cells grow uncontrollably and spread to other parts of the body. You see, we have generalized the term cancer, regardless of which tissue the road dividing cells come from. But in reality, cancer refers to tumors or growths from epithelial tissues. So therefore, when we talk about breast cancer, we're talking about the epithelial cells lining the duct, that is the nipple, that part of the nipple. There's a conduit, and there are epithelial cells over there. So when they become cancerous, we say cancer. And we're talking also about the where the milk is produced. We call them the acinar cells. When they are affected by uncontrollable growth, we also call it cancer. But in reality, we have cells that are not epithelial, and sometimes people also call them, when they divide uncontrollably, people refer to them as cancer. But those are called, referred to as sarcoma. So that's a bit of detail. And I want to add to Dr. Johannes' presentation. He made a very excellent presentation. I just want to add that when we talk about food modifiers of cancer, we have to include water. Water is really very, very important, because water regulates all metabolic processes in the body, and so we must make sure that we are hydrated, very, very well during the course of the day. Even eight cups of water is okay. When I was in Ghana, I usually hydrate by drinking coconut milk, coconut juice. I'll drink about 5-6 coconuts, because coconut juice contains a lot of micronutrients. So we've got to make use of what we have. Water, coconut juice. Okay, when we talk about prevention and treatment of cancer, everything revolves around the immune system and antioxidants. So the body itself is able to fight the cancer with immune cells. These are like soldiers that are ready to attack the cancer cells, but sometimes the cancer cells overwhelm the immune cells. Therefore, we need to boost our immune system. And so, we've got to look at food that contains a lot of vitamin D, vitamin D3, zinc. We've got to look at vitamin C, foods that contain a lot of vitamin C, and some of the food that contains zinc, a lot of zinc, is pumpkin seed or pumpkin seed oil. That is number one, pumpkin seed or pumpkin seed oil. And also oysters contain a lot of zinc. There is sesame seeds, there is groundnuts, eggs also contain a lot of zinc. Now, when we talk about vitamin D, we've got to make sure that we expose ourselves to the sunshine, during let's say 10 a.m., 11 a.m. of the day when the sun is not too hot. It's not in the afternoon around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock when it's really very, very hot. This is the more reason why kids in kindergarten are allowed to go out to play around 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. It is that sunshine which is really very, very beneficial during that time of the day. Also, when we talk about vitamin D-rich food, we've got to look at mushrooms. Mushrooms of all kinds, edible mushrooms are really very, very important. Then we're talking about vitamin C. Guava contains the richest of vitamin C, not even citrus fruits, but guava, very rich in vitamin C. And this is also an immune booster. Also, physical activity is an immune booster, and sufficient sleep, these are all immune boosters. So when we do these things, it helps us prevent cancer, or even during treatment, for the immune cells to work better to fight the cancer. Okay, so I said everything revolves around immune boosters and antioxidants. So with the antioxidants,
Dr. Alfred?
yes?
Dr. Alfred, if we have just 1 minute, remaining. It may go off, but we will rejoin for the continuation of the expert's advice on this. Yes, please. I just want to inform us. We will join the third time, but that may not take us to the food section, but we just have to join to enjoy to the latter. Thank you very much. So,
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So I was talking about antioxidants. The body itself, through metabolic processes, releases what they call free radicals, and these are harmful to cells. So the body itself is also able to produce certain substances called antioxidants to quench these free radicals. And the main antioxidants are selenium, vitamin C, vitamin E, and glutathione. Which foods are rich in selenium? It's Brazil nuts and seafood. Any seafood is very rich in selenium. I've already spoken about vitamin C, guava, citrus fruits, peppers. All kinds of peppers are rich in vitamin C. Then we have vitamin E.
hello, Dr. Alfred. Please, I think you can go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Now. Yes, so I was talking about antioxidants, and I did mention that selenium, vitamin C, vitamin E, and glutathione are the main ones. And I mentioned that Brazil nuts and seafood contain a lot of selenium. With vitamin C, we already know, Dr. Johannes mentioned, citrus fruits, etc. Now, what I want to say is that as we age, and especially breast cancer, is seen in post-menopausal women. It can also occur in men. But this is the age group where they find it very difficult to assimilate food products that they eat. They can't assimilate everything. So there is a need for supplements. So it is okay, not to rely only on food for your requirements of antioxidants, but also to take supplements, like vitamin C, vitamin E, and glutathione. What we've got to realize is that if you take vitamin C without vitamin E, you are wasting your time. And vice versa. If you take vitamin E without vitamin C, you're wasting your time because these two vitamins work together. They are synergistic in their action. Okay, so still under Dr. Johannes, he didn't mention saturated fatty acids. Margarine, butter, fatty meat, red meat, not good.
They will talk about that one.
Hello? May I continue? Somebody interrupted.
Yeah, Prof, please, you can continue.
Yeah, okay. So, he didn't mention, there are others like, saturated fatty acids like margarine, butter, fatty meat, fatty red meat. These are not good. These promote cancer. I just want to say that we forgot to mention shea butter. Shea butter is the king of all oils because it is anti-inflammatory, very anti-inflammatory, and it helps prevent cancer. Shea butter, you can eat it. You can use for frying. You can use it for anything. Sometimes we down-regulate shea butter and try to go for imported oils. Okay, so talking about oils, I would say that olive oil, which has already been mentioned, is really very good. Sunflower oil, very good. Red palm nut oil, good. Coconut oil, very good. I wouldn't go for corn oil and phytol. We never get oil from corn. So if there is corn oil, it means that they might have got the oil from some synthetic sources. So avoid phytol and avoid corn oil. I'm not spoiling anybody's business, but the health of the populace is more important than somebody making profit. So avoid corn oil, avoid phytol. Now, with Mr. Uswaji's presentation, I don't have much to say. He spoke about vegetables, broccoli, cabbage, onions, garlic, but he left out contumely, our old contumely. Of course, contumely, you cannot eat it raw, but it's also a very good vegetable that has a lot of good nutrients that can compete with all those that have already been mentioned. Now, about legumes and fruits, all that I can say is that we always have to think about the rainbow color. The rainbow color. Anything which is red, anything which is yellow, anything which is orange, is good because these fruits and vegetables, with a variety of colors, red, orange, indigo, they contain what we call flavonoids. The flavonoids come from the Latin word flavus, which is yellow. And they contain flavonoids are very potent antioxidants. So anything which is yellow, pop.
Hello, Prof.
Yeah. It's no longer.
Hello, Dr. Alfred.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, Doc.
Okay, at first did I go off?
Okay.
Okay, so I was just saying that our own conglomerate is also good.
Dr. Alfred. Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, we can hear now. It went off again.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm saying that when we consider food, vegetables, and fruits that are beneficial for our health, we've got to think about the rainbow color. Right? Any food that is red, any food that is yellow, dark red, orange, these are good. So mango, pineapple, orange, purple, guava, they're all yellow because they contain what we call flavonoids. And flavonoids, flavonoids, the term flavonoid is derived from Latin, which means yellow. Anything yellow is really very, very good. So, that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Alfred, for joining. So we have some more minutes. At this point, we will take questions from our participants. And we must say we are very grateful for your patience. The time was going off and coming on, but you kept on joining. Now we want to hear from you questions, clarifications, and contributions, please. So you will kindly raise your hand, and then we will call you. So when you go to the reaction area, you can raise your hand. It will show on my screen, and then you will be called. You unmute, and then you talk to us. The floor is open, please.
I think silence means that everything was
Yes.
good.
Yes, so it means that everybody understood everything. So, okay, somebody has put a question in the chat section. Somebody is asking that please a boil in between the two breasts. Is it alarming? Dr. Fred, there's a question at the section box saying that a boil in between the two breasts, is it alarming? I think, okay, Dr. Fred, please.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There is the need for frequent screening of the breast itself to identify lumps which might suggest cancer. But during the presentation, they mentioned about the nipples, which could deepen. They mentioned about the areola, the area around the nipples that could change color. And they mentioned about discharge from the nipples. So it is the breast we are concerned with. We are not concerned with the area in between the two breasts. So a boil in between the two breasts, in my opinion, might be the result of an infection from what they call pyogenic bacteria. Maybe there wasn't enough hygiene, sanitation in between there. It got to be constantly, cleaning in between the two breasts. It could get wet and humid and warm over there. So you've got to be cleaning it really very, very frequently. So if there's a boil over there, it's a boil. A boil is a structure, it's a round structure which, if it ruptures, oozes yellow, thick fluid. So is that the fluid that is oozing? It's a boil. And if it's a boil, it's caused by a certain group of bacteria called pyogenic bacteria. Of course, you've got to be concerned about it, but not as a nodule or lump within the breast itself.
Okay.
That boil will just be treated with antibiotics, and that will be the end of the story.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. One person is also asking, can breast cancer be cured? And also, she's also asking if males can get breast cancer. For that one, I heard Dr. Johan saying that we have 2%. In Ghana, according to statistics, 2% of males do get breast cancer. So that one we can tell from the presentation that males can also get, just that the probability is low. But with the question, can breast cancer be cured? I think Dr. Alfred should help us.
Yeah, thank you for the question. We must strive to prevent breast cancer, because once it's been diagnosed as a cancer, breast cancer, if it has not spread to the armpit lymph nodes, then the cure would be to remove that lump. Others don't want to take chances. They would rather go for mastectomy, that is, remove the breast, the affected breast. Do we call that a cure? I think so, because if we hadn't removed the breast, or if we hadn't removed the lump, then there would have been more serious consequences of the cancer spreading to other parts of the body. So yes, breast cancer can be cured by the treatments that I've just mentioned. I know there is radiation therapy and chemotherapy and all that, but I think if you have cancer, breast cancer, and the armpit lymph nodes have been removed, and the breast has been removed, the chemotherapy and the radiation therapy is to mop up any possibility of the cancerous cells having got into the lymphatic vessels or the blood vessels.
Okay.
Did this answer the question?
Yes, I think it does. Another question is here. At what age is mammogram advised? Somebody wants to know if they can just go for mammogram at any time and at what age. The next one too is, what causes breast cancer? I think we have talked about that extensively when Dr. Alfred also started, he explained. So that one, I think we have genetic factors and environmental factors like radiation and dyes and external chemicals and estrogens like smoking and alcohol and all that. I think that answers that. But then the mammogram, I think Dr. Alfred will give us an expert opinion.
Postmenopausal women have the greatest risk of developing breast cancer. So, of course, for primary health care, it is important for every female to at least have one breast cancer screening once a year. But this is particularly important for postmenopausal women.
Okay.
Did I answer the question?
Yes, please. Yes, please. I think I saw a raised hand somewhere. Please, if you raise your hand, kindly unmute and tell us what you have to tell us, please. Yes, so HMD Global Nokia, kindly unmute and talk to us. I can see your hand raised. Please.
Hello?
Yes, please. You can go ahead, sir.
Hello? Hello?
Sir, please, can you hear us? You can go ahead, please.
Oh, okay. My question is, I've been hearing a lot of people commenting on noodles, that is spaghetti and the indomie they buy from the selling women. I learned the duration for digestion of those food supplements. Some have different mindsets about the duration of digestion. Some are saying it takes 6 hours. Others are saying it takes 4 to 5 hours. So sometimes there is confusion because if the food happens not to digest well, it brings a lot of complications. So I just want to ask, is it necessary to eat noodles between the time frame of, let's say, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m.? Then you rest for an hour before you go to bed? That is my question.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Dr. Alfred, please. Dr. Alfred, please.
Yes, sorry. A call came through and I had to take it. I don't know whether you heard the conversation. What was the question?
Yeah, so the question is about spaghetti, the Indomie that they do mostly in the night. Whether the digestion is okay within an hour and whether it's healthy for us to just get some spaghetti in the night and eat.
Well, getting spaghetti once in a while is okay, but taking too much spaghetti is not good because spaghetti is made from refined wheat. And one of the presenters had already mentioned that, refined wheat is not good. We would rather go for what do you call it, whole grain food. If it is corn, it is the whole corn you eat it. You're not going to take popcorn with the, popcorn or something. It's whole grains. So spaghetti is not good because it is from refined wheat. But once in a while, that's okay.
Yes. Thank you very much. HMG Global, I hope you're okay with the answer, or you have a follow-up or a contribution, please.
It's clear now because there was confusion out there because people have different mindsets when it comes to the digestion time for the food. Yeah, so it's clear. It's clear to me. So you know how to talk to them. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Seth's hand is up. Please, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. I just wanted to say a little about the spaghetti stuff. Now, we talked about sleep, getting adequate sleep. And we know that once we eat, we've given our body some kind of work. And the digestion is some kind of work that our body is going to do. And so that is not going to help us get the adequate sleep we need. Because as we are sleeping, our body will be working. And by the time we get up, sometimes you go to bed, instead of being rested, by the time you wake up, you feel weak and tired, rather. And some of those things are because of the time, the interval between the time we eat and then the time we go to bed. And so, to get rested well, we should eat early. And with a spark, as Doc said, it's also from polished or refined something, wheat. And so our focus or our attention should be on how to get fiber into our bodies rather than going for the refined one, as we said earlier. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Johans. Please, you have something to say? I can see your hand up.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Michelle. There is this particular agent that I actually want to talk about. They call it monosodium white Maggi. But currently, you wouldn't see the white Maggi on the market. But most of these products, most of these artificial spices on the market, when you check the contents, you realize that it contains monosodium glutamate. So this monosodium glutamate is actually a very potent carcinogenic substance. So we should actually take note of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Johans. I think that, and the spaghetti, we have those things in it a lot. And it gives it this particular taste. So I think we have to be very, very careful. Okay. So I'm not seeing any hands here again. Neither is there any question in the chat section. And so I would like to thank all of us so much. Okay, there's a question here.
There's a hand. Yes.
Okay, Samsung. Okay, Dr. Alfred, please.
Yes, I want to make one comment about proteins. Right? So we're saying that red meat is not good. Beef is not good. Right? Yeah, but it is not all meat that is bad. White meat is good. Chicken is good. Pork is good. Turkey is good. So it is the red meat. Beef, which is not good. Fish is good. Right? I would even say that it should be more fish than meat. Except maybe, of course, maybe once in a while you want to try Apache cracker or maybe a grass cutter, meat or whatever. Sometimes we go for that. But it's white meat, white flesh, which is fish, all good. It's beef, which is the problem, red meat. And wildlife, what do you call it, meat, not good.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Alfred. Okay, so in the chat section, somebody is saying that in addition to what Dr. Alfred said, mammogram is recommended from 40 years and above. Okay, thank you very much for the comment. Okay. So, is there any other hand, please? Okay. I'm not seeing any other hand.
Well, actually, there's something else I want to say. There's something else I want to say.
Okay, Dr. Alfred.
Okay. So, we mentioned all food products, but there's one food product that we haven't spoken about, and these are called probiotics. Probiotic is nothing more than yogurt, right? And when I say yogurt, I am not talking about yogurt with all kinds of fruits mixed with it and that sort of thing. I'm talking about plain yogurt, right? Why is yogurt important? Yogurt is important because yogurt contains what we refer to as friendly bacteria. The human intestine naturally is lined with the friendly bacteria. But sometimes we kill those bacteria, especially when you're taking oral antibiotics. We kill the friendly bacteria. So we got to replace them. And we replace them with yogurt. The way it works is that if every morning, for instance, you take a teaspoon or let's say yogurt on an empty stomach. Before you eat anything, take it on an empty stomach. The friendly bacteria, they call it lactobacilli, they have other fancy names. They go to line up the intestinal lining, and whenever there is a bad bacterium, the bad ones that cause disease, those are prevented from multiplying and releasing toxins because the receptors have been blocked by the friendly bacteria. They are already there, so just waiting. So yogurt in the morning on an empty stomach is good. And this kind of defense from the friendly bacteria, they call it the competitive exclusive principle. Competitive in the sense that they're excluding the bad bacteria that you may inadvertently ingest. Besides that, the yogurt strengthens the intestinal immune system. So yogurt is really very, very good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Alfred. We have just 10 minutes, and so we just want you to remember that this whole program is powered by the G&J Phytoceutical, that's from Dr. Johans, and also excellent books from Mr. Set. So if you have any consultation whatsoever concerning herbal medicine, you can contact. Mr. Seth has those books that we get most of the information from, and a lot of the things that Dr. Alfred said are also in these books. You can also contact and get all of them. Somebody asked for the recorded session. You can contact us after. We'll put the contact number. So, Mr. Seth and Dr. Johans, you can all put your contact numbers there in the chat section. I'm putting mine there so that if somebody wants clarification or wants any information or the presentation slides or anything, they can contact and get it. And I must say that every year in October, we try to educate people on breast cancer. With time, we may add some other diseases that we would want to talk about, most especially the non-communicable diseases. On behalf of everybody, we would like to thank all our presenters and also especially our guest speaker. There's a time difference, but he made time to join us in this presentation. We also want to thank all our wonderful participants, because if they are not here, we cannot have a presentation. So we want to thank everybody for joining in today. That's my final word. We still have 7 minutes. If there's any final word from any person or any of the presenters, you can go on and then we call it a day. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Michelle, for such a wonderful opportunity. The last I would like to add is, I think someone made a comment in the comment section about the mammograph, and it's actually recommended for every woman of childbearing age, and highly recommended for women above 40 or post-menopausal women. And then early detection of breast cancer is treatable, usually treatable. So please, anytime you observe any signs or the symptoms that I actually spoke about, then please just report to the nearby hospital or talk to a healthcare professional who can help. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Johans. Any final word? Okay. So if there's Mr. Seth, you want to say something?
So thanks to all the participants, and we've all learned a lot, and we are pleading with all of us to share what we've gotten to know with our friends and family members, and then help all of us to take good care of ourselves and protect ourselves from getting sick. That is the little I would want to share with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Seth. Okay. All right, Dr. Alfred. Okay, Dr. Alfred spoke for the last. Maybe there's nothing else. But if there's anything.
Well, I thank you all for the opportunity and to interact with you all. And let's do it again next year, because breast cancer is a constant threat. And there's nobody on earth that wasn't nurtured through breast milk. Everybody. So we've got to adore it. We've got to take care of the breast. Let's do it again. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, and thanks to everybody for joining in. I will say that may God richly bless you. Bye-bye.